This episode of Lore Drop is sponsored by Caleb Uckel. Shout out to Monica Gomez's baby daddy.
It's Witch Doctor, and then the only other character that does not have a Universe 17 counterpart is Brave.
Oh,
At
interesting.
least like a developed
Sure.
one, because that was a name that you had down,
Yeah.
but like
It
haven't
was,
really done
and
anything.
this is a really fun transition as well, because there was one point a couple years ago that I got really bored one day, and for whatever reason, I was like, "What would it look?" I found some like post online of someone turning like Pokemon into D&D characters, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What if in my brain I turned Pokemon into comic book characters?" And so Brave was just one of the names off of that list of like, let me just take the idea of this Pokemon, boil it down to a name of like a type of thing. And so the fun thing is that Lady Earthquake was another one off of that list, where Lady Earthquake is directly inspired by the Pokemon.
Hello! Welcome to Lore Drop, a Reinvent podcast. I'm Abby, the executive director of Reinvent Productions.
I'm Ben, the creative and artistic director.
And our third party member today is...
Monica! I neither direct, but I did create the baby that's inside me right now.
Yeah! Monica,
That's good.
at time of recording, she be baking a baby.
Hell yeah.
It's good stuff. Speaking of baby, you played a character whilst
Oh my gosh,
Being
this
pregnant.
this
Yeah.
one. This is the one. I
So-
sure did.
we're going back to all the characters in Ordinary Heroes that have a Universe 17 doppelganger, and doing some compare and contrast episodes, because we had so much fun making the first couple episodes of this podcast that we were like, man, we need to go back and just get everybody on here.
Yeah.
So Monica's here today to talk about Lady Earthquake, and Ben has been saying that Lady Earthquake is going to take a certain prize, most likely.
Mhm,
You want to
yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah, I think, and this is before we get into it, I think Lady Earthquake is going to end up being the Ordinary Heroes character who is most different from their Universe 17 counterpart.
And I, for one, can't wait to hear about
Yeah.
it.
But before we get into that, we must decide the most important thing about this podcast, which is which animated trio the three of us are today.
And I have it. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're Spy Family.
Okay.
And I think that Abby is Anya.
Uh-huh.
Ben is Bond.
Excellent.
Ben's the dog.
Good.
Ben's the dog, and I will be your.
Nice.
That's great.
I love
This
that.
is very funny because in our episode about Trickshot that we did with Taylor, our trio in that one was also Spy Family, and Abby was Anya, I was Lloyd, and Taylor was Frankie.
Yeah, that's great. That's good.
Yeah.
Scruffy heads.
Yeah.
And that works. That's so true.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All
That's
right.
good. I love it.
That is, whenever we have James over to watch Spy
That's a
Family,
man.
he
Every
loses his
time.
mind, whatever.
Every time Bond goes borf.
That's a man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. Yeah. I was like, oh, it has to be this.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So let's talk about Lady Earthquake in Universe 17.
Yeah. So Lady Earthquake was born in 1971, and she is a black dragonborn who learned her magic from an ancient tome of earth magic. Lady Earthquake can cast magic spells from said ancient tome to affect the ground and various other seismic activities. Notable allies, none, so to speak of. She is a lone operator.
She
And
didn't
then
put down dirt
nope.
or water.
I
She
did
doesn't
not.
need anyone.
And the notable adversaries include the Wanderer, Living Thorn, Speaker, and Morgana.
Morgana, that's
yep.
my character.
That's right.
Oh.
Morgana is the director of basically Underwater Cadence, which is known as Harbor.
But no, not like Cadence. We're not as bad.
I said basically.
Secrets?
We're not
Keep your
corrupt.
secrets?
Yes, they are an underwater security organization.
Morgana runs a tight ship.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
not a tight ship because it's underwater.
It's underwater.
Yes, of course.
Submarine. A tight.
Submarine. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, so Lady Earthquake's first real world appearance was actually in Ordinary Heroes in Universe 1, and she is one of the central characters used by Wendell in that show, in that script. Lady Earthquake as a villain, her first big event in Universe 17 is as a villain to the Order of Heroes as a whole in the year 2021 when she attempts to erupt the Yellowstone supervolcano and is stopped by the Order of Heroes.
They said, hey,
She could have done it. I know.
Yeah.
hey, queen,
Yep.
can you stop?
So that is where the beef with Living Thorn and Speaker comes from.
Okay.
Who is Speaker?
Speaker is so they're both members of the Order of Heroes. Speaker is a Goliath is his species, but he is basically half of his body is covered in tree bark.
Oh.
And so he is someone very much like he has that like enhanced durability and strength, but also is able to communicate with all animal and plant life.
Living
And
Thorn is a high.
functionally has immortality
I was gonna
as
say,
well.
and Living Thorn's an enemy because Lady Earthquake's so attracted to her.
Right. Yeah.
Just
Living Thorn has control over plants and plant matter and stuff.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, and so that is her really the extent of her main stuff in Universe 17. But I also wanted to throw out there with the Ancient Tome of Earth Magic, that is actually one of a collection of 4 of these like ancient tomes that exist in the Reinvent world, one for each of these like primary elements. And the reason why she is adversaries with Morgana is because Morgana has the tome of fire magic.
Oh, that's what you were talking about. Yeah, Ben
Yeah.
earlier today while I was working on on scheduling some Facebook posts, he's like, hey, I think I found a way for Lady Earthquake and Mouse to have beef. Do you want to
Yeah.
find out now or later? And I was like, no, it's later.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fun. So
Mhm.
just quick spark notes. So Morgana is a Triton, but she's a wizard. She has a spell book, but like instead of being like normally with wizard level up, you like add the spells that you earn. I had her spells from level 1 to 20 already planned out.
Oh.
And it's that she was translating the book as she was leveling up, she was like learning how to cast the spells, which is crazy because she learns power word kill before power word heal.
Shut
and
the hell up.
that like really messes her up.
Mhm.
Because that was a character I was playing in our friend Nathan Weaver's campaign. That was like a totally like an actual high fantasy game.
Yeah.
And the
Sky ships,
her name
Sky
was
Islands.
her name was Mouse. She was kind of a Doogie Howser type character because
Yes.
she's a 15-year-old. But she was our glass cannon
Mhm.
for that campaign. But I was like, hey, it would be fun if we made her like a really powerful character in
Mhm.
Reinvent.
Yeah.
It's that book was, even though she's a Triton, it's like mostly fire magic
Mhm.
in it.
Yeah. So is Earth and fire, like fire beat Earth? Is that what I'm learning right now? Or
None. It's more so that there's not an inherent thing tied to the books, but the 4 like ancient like magic users who wrote the spell books all had beef with each other.
Got
and so
it.
I was like, who can write the best spell book? That'll be the most like influential throughout history.
where do water and air? Do those have owners yet?
Not
Or-
yet, no.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah.
Let me put that down.
Yeah.
Perhaps I write it.
Yeah. And then we get to Ordinary Heroes Lady Earthquake, which is quite different. A lot of the major differences. She's not a Dragonborn.
She a person.
Pretty much everyone in that show, except for Richard, is a human
Yeah.
being in that universe. But Lady Earthquake's real name is Alora in this universe, and she is the physical embodiment of nature itself that takes the form of a human. And in Ordinary Heroes, Lady Earthquake is not just limited to earth-based spells and stuff. She can control any phenomena related to the weather, right? So she often uses lightning as well. And earthquakes are like the favorite go-to. But a lot of
It's in the name.
yeah,
It's in the
exactly.
you gotta go with the branding.
And in this one, and this is a revision that I'm doing, one of the notes of revisions I made for the script, very small ones, but just that she is the owner of the Book of Secrets, and so that is her big thing.
That's how
And-
I was playing it also.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
great.
So yeah, and that's a lot of the revisions. I'm like, no, this is how they were doing it anyway. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
And then she's also the primary villain of Richard, the super robot.
You and Richard just had beef
Yep.
every time.
Every step of the
scene,
way.
in and out of character. That was every night. It was one of my favorite accidental bits of like, oh, I see this place is already occupied. That is correct.
And Richard's like, bye.
Okay, fine. Every
Yeah.
night I got more like, well, then I guess I'm going.
Yeah. Notable allies of Lady Earthquake in Ordinary Heroes are Witch Doctor, Booming Boxer, and Fortunato.
Although I feel like Witch Doctor might
She's
disagree.
really, Witch Doctor is just like,
I can't wait
It's
to
like
we're acquaintances.
it's like
coworkers.
yeah,
it's like Trick Shot thinking that he's Ironsight's best friend.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironsight's is Trick Shot's best friend.
That's exactly
Yeah.
Witch Doctor is Alora's best friend. Sure.
And then her notable adversaries, of course, are Richard, and then there's also Dark Fog and Mr. and Mrs. Fahrenheit are the big ones. But yeah, that's a lot of the stuff there, and it's one that in at least the world of the story, not Witch Doctor, Lady Earthquake is sort of the one who like attempts the first time to bring Witch Doctor to the rest of the characters. But yeah, that's a lot of the fun stuff, the big differences there between those two things.
Yeah, she is very different from like you were reading off the other stuff. I was like, oh no, that's not.
Yeah,
That wasn't what I read. But then I was like, great,
Absolutely.
I read this other stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool stuff that you did with the character. I loved the makeup that you did.
Yes.
That was awesome.
I know that.
Shout out Marissa Flores.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marissa did some really awesome makeup for the show, and I like that she took the logo
Yes.
that Ben made, and like used that
Yeah,
in the
that was
makeup
sick.
design.
Yeah.
I was like,
That was
and-
my idea.
Yeah.
Well, and I felt so dumb. I didn't catch it until like the third day of doing it, and I was like, oh, that's your
Yeah.
logo.
It's on your shirt. It's on your face.
Whoa.
Crazy.
And Ben, there was the like Earth Elemental sign was what most of the logo kind of was comprised of, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, we found like a design that I saw that I like because I knew I don't like makeup on my face. That's a Monica.
Yeah. No,
So I was like,
totally.
how can I? But I was like, she should look villainous. So how can I make that work? And we went with a lot of angular, like earthquakey, like seismic. It was like zigzags on my face, but
Yeah.
it felt. I was like, this is seismic.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And she was a like a magician too, so I was going for a witchy vibe was
Yeah.
the intent.
Yeah. I really liked exploring the scene where Lady Earthquake like summons Witch Doctor. Because I think it was like the week before we opened.
Yes, it
I had
was.
given the direction. I was like, hey, I think that Witch Doctor is, instead of like whenever she says until we meet again, it's not being said to Richard, it's being said to Wendell.
Yeah.
Because Witch Doctor is a on paper personification of Wendell's anxieties. And when I gave you and Andrew the note of like whenever Witch Doctor is the one who's going to dismiss you
Yeah.
instead of like the story ending it.
Yeah.
Because Witch Doctor is never in a roundup. Well, she's
Doc Patterson is in that
I was
roundup.
saying that's not even a roundup.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Oh yeah,
them.
it's just it got interrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every other time that Witch Doctor's on stage, she is just there, kind of running the story. And I really enjoyed what you guys brought to that, like just taking the direction I gave and then you guys ran with it. I was like, awesome, great. But that was a really cool scene.
Well, because that's the first time she showed up after killing Trickshot, right?
Yeah.
Was that
Yes.
summoning. And so
Yes.
I always saw it. Caleb, my partner, and I talked at length about the show also
Yeah.
after he saw it. And like we definitely saw it as like that moment when Witch Doctor kills Trickshot is that turning point of her coming from comic book character into that manifestation. Like,
Yeah.
because then Wendell does take action after that as well.
Yeah.
And so then that summoning is a bastardization of like Alora trying to do her thing, but because Wendell's in such a dark space in that
Yeah.
moment, that's why she couldn't complete the summoning.
Yeah.
It's because Witch Doctor takes over. That's at least how I was seeing it.
Yeah.
And then she controls the narrative from there on out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
because of how much Witch Doctor was like influencing the story, we were kind of joking about the fact, because Emma one day asked, she was like, "What's her beef with Ted?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Huh, what is that?" And then long story short, it ended up being that we were like, I think Witch Doctor might be one of the founders.
Is a much more significant figure and character than the script would suggest.
Yeah, because Witch Doctor does not have a Universe 17
Yeah.
counterpart.
Mhm.
It's Witch Doctor, and then the only other character that does not have a Universe 17 counterpart is Brave.
Oh,
At
interesting.
least
Yeah.
like a
Sure.
developed one, because that was a name that you had down,
Yeah.
but like
It
haven't
was,
really done
and
anything.
this is a really fun transition as well, because there was one point a couple years ago that I got really bored one day, and for whatever reason, I was like, "What would it look?" I found some like post online of someone turning like Pokemon into D&D characters, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What if in my brain I turned Pokemon into comic book characters?" And so Brave was just one of the names off of that list of like, let me just take the idea of this Pokemon, boil it down to a name of like a type of thing. And so the fun thing is that Lady Earthquake was another one off of that list, where Lady Earthquake is directly inspired by the Pokemon Garchomp.
Not Garchomp.
That was
Not that little guy.
Yeah.
that was not what I thought you were gonna
Nope,
say.
yep.
I was like, oh, he's probably gonna say like Onyx or,
Nope.
or
Nope.
something.
Garchomp is Black Dragon.
Yeah,
like
it
I
was
see it.
Yeah,
As a
yeah,
little
no,
guy.
I see it now.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, there were a lot of discoveries happening during Ordinary Heroes that have affected the Universe 17 canon,
Yeah.
which is really fun and
Mhm.
not something we expected to happen, but it's just one of those things that we've been talking about, how like a lot of the contributors in our reinvent community have for the best or for the better have changed continuity things, and like canon events have been tweaked and made more interesting because of like other people's contributions.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think like we had such a short timeline with Ordinary Heroes, which is I think the nature of the beast with every show. Every show,
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I wish we had more time.
Mhm. Yeah.
But what I loved about like a bit of a pressure cooker of just like I feel like, yeah, everyone just had so many discoveries like as we were doing the runs that final week, like even Monday into the show, we were like, oh wow, like this would be a really interesting like angle to take, and it wasn't derailing the show or changing blocking or anything like that, but it was just like you could tell people's intentions were like more motivated with each show that we were doing, and it was fun to like watch that happen live,
Yeah.
or even backstage in the dressing room. Those
Absolutely.
discoveries.
Well, and this is one of those things again, because it was also like mid rehearsals. I was having new revelations about the script and a lot of the things that were going on and the symbolism and stuff, especially with the like heroes based on the real world people in Volume 3, Issue 3. But also, one of the realizations I didn't have until after the show was done was regarding the portals and stuff and the summoning spells. Of like the first time we see that summoning spell is in that scene with Witch Doctor when Lady Earthquake is doing that, and that's in the script. It just says that she has a spell book, right? It doesn't call it the Book of Secrets outright. But I think on a like narrative level as well, that's in that scene. That's one where Wendell sort of has. I talked about this before, where he sort of uses Witch Doctor as a weapon against his characters instead of like part of the narrative. And I think in that as well, because Lady Earthquake up until then is the only like magic adjacent character, and so using her as a sort of vehicle and the spell book, the Book of Secrets, sort of introducing that idea of that magic and stuff to get Witch Doctor to the rest of the characters in that way is a thing in Wendell's brain of like how do I get this character here? And I think it's really fun and honestly just like delightful and nice like a twist of hope in Volume 3, Issue 3, that anytime we do see the summoning spell, it is being used by the heroes for like, so it's a similar of like same tool, get someone here who I need to have here for the sake of the story, but it's not to be used for that violence anymore. Right.
And it's successful those times. Like it
yeah.
actually works
Yeah.
when they do it for good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably like a layer there that's like, oh yeah, no, it was successful, and because it was done with a pure heart. or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think so.
And the fact that it's a child who cast it the first two times.
Yeah.
Because
This is true.
Book is the one who cast it.
The purest of hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then having Misfortune do the big one to get trick shot in is really cool. Oh, that was such a good moment every night.
Oh, I loved
whenever
it
there was
every
guitar,
night.
that little bit came on. You're like, ah.
I'd have to try really hard not to smile. The way that I was facing, no one really could see me, but I was like, "You're mean and you're evil. Be evil. You don't
Yeah.
like this,
But you're so happy that
but
the
you're so
cowboy's
happy." Yes.
Yeah.
back. No, it was a really satisfying time, especially that Thursday night one when there was just massive applause.
It was very sweet. I think one thing I loved about Allura, I was playing her. I think you had mentioned Storm, which for sure, but Storm is a hero, so it was a
Yeah.
little tricky for me in that space. I was coming more from that like poison ivy environmentalist space whenever I was her in a scene being a villain, and then because what I like about this, it was so interesting to be villain and then be in the roundups where I'm not. These are my friends. Is how
Yeah.
I was at least envisioning the roundups or my colleagues at the minimum. Richard,
Yeah.
except for Richard, except for that muddle
Yeah.
monstrosity. And so I was taking that like care and love that comic book Lady Earthquake had for the world, and I was then trying to play it as like care and love for my fellow
Yeah.
comic book characters. So in my mind and heart, she had like a very nurturing relationship with, because I was mostly by Sneak a lot of the times in those roundups. So trying to nurture like child Sneak,
Yeah.
and then like be
Well,
kind and
like
gracious.
definitely Dorian. Like you're one of the people that joins in Sneak
Yes.
whenever they're attempting to write
Yeah.
a story
Yeah.
themselves.
Yes. It's like, okay, well, like, let's give it a shot. Like, let's not beat this child down
Yeah.
while they're suffering.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a fun, like, duality to play where she is I think her very angry, I think, or just like boisterous in the fighting scenes. And then to be like, hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Not quite so drastic, but still forceful, but more caring in those other scenes. That was a very, like, that was something that I was learning, like, in those, like, 2 weeks of January. We were like, we
Yeah.
gotta put this on.
Yeah, and I do feel like if we had the same amount of rehearsal time as we will for Trust and Turmoil, I still think I would have wanted to use the books. Like
Yeah.
having it be like
Oh, I loved that.
like having
Yeah.
the pseudo staged reading, and then like I think having more time would have had it be that people were more familiar with it, so it'd be like more looking up and like less looking down. But I mean, I feel like it worked for
Yeah.
the like showing the progression of Wendell growing up. and
Yes.
other people might not agree with it, but I don't care. I loved how the show turned
Yeah,
out. And,
no, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And it made like not just 3.3, all of Volume 3 stand out so much more.
Yes. Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah. And I think that helped with 3.3, especially like for the big like fights that we had that
There
like
was no way we could have done that
Yeah.
with
no. And it's like we didn't have the special effects for 3.3, like the sound design and lighting design that you and Lark did super supported the fights, but it still was like I could tell people would be giggling a little bit during the Lady Earthquake versus the Fahrenheit
Yes.
fight, but I was just like,
Well, to me, that was more so about seeing the actors who had been playing the parents this
That's
whole time.
exactly-
yeah.
Getting to
okay.
be in there with
Yeah,
all the
well,
other ones.
you talk about that.
I was on stage.
Yeah.
So the first night that happened,
yeah, because
I
I was asleep during
was trying
that.
really hard not to get my feeling. I was like, why are they laughing at me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, that's what you think when you're like, no, this has never
Right.
gotten laughs.
No,
So
absolutely,
it
yeah.
must be something that I'm doing. So I asked my partner, Caleb, I was like, what was that? Like, I'm scared. And he was like, they were like, everyone was laughing at the Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Because one, it was like mom and dad are now superheroes. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, very cute.
Well, and like James has his hair down.
Yeah. But two, it was their stances were so
Yeah.
posed and like just being, they were so silly with it. Where
Yeah.
I was like, that's so funny because I saw those poses. I was like, badass. Like they're so cool. And I guess
Yeah, if you
it's
go
a bit
from-
comical that like
Yeah.
they're
the
being
parents are,
But it's like they committed so hard to it.
Yes.
Was
Oh my
one of the things that
gosh.
just like, yeah.
I
Beth
loved
and
it.
James,
And also,
were-
like, admittedly, those are two of the goofiest names in the whole show.
This is also true. This is also true.
yes, but it's also the fact that Beth and James committed so much with
Yeah.
it. Because your guys' fight was, I thought was really fun, and
Yeah.
like the combat that we had to do for you, because I was like. It was when I was talking with Justin about developing the fights. I was like, "Hey, so Monica's pregnant, and James and Beth are older.
They
And
are
and
our
s-
oldest actors.
Yeah.
They are
Mhm.
oldest actors, and they had expressed like, "Hey, don't know how much we can do," and I was like, "It's
Yeah.
fine, we'll make it work," because I think that a big thing for me as a director, and then like specifically as a fight director, I want to make action accessible
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
Absolutely.
And like I've told people before, it's like it is my job to make sure that you look cool on stage, and I'm not going to do anything purposefully that's going to make you look bad. You might feel weird doing it because like a lot of times with stage combat, we're doing like tricks to make like certain impact things look more powerful or whatever, or like
Mhm.
doing different angles. So martially it doesn't make sense, but like from the audience it looks really gnarly. And I mean, y'all came up with most of that.
It was a lot of Beth. Beth had like
Yeah.
really wonderful ideas
yeah,
for a
And
lot of that. So.
I really loved that. Like I don't.
Mhm.
Whenever I was asleep in that scene, I would like try to like turn my head a little bit to be, or no, I was on my back during that scene because
Yeah.
we were like
you were on
under
your
the
back,
earthquake.
yes.
And I
My
was like,
big stomp.
I was like, what
Yeah.
are we doing? What are we doing? Oh yeah, because I gave you like a cool Power Rangers moment where like we
like,
all were gonna try
everyone-
and get you, and then you just stomped your foot, and all of
Yeah.
us were.
That was one of my favorite cues to like hit the space bar for when
Big
like the
stomp.
perfect timing for it, which is so good.
I love doing that. No, I felt like not only like because I loved reading Lady Earthquake during that first read through, and then when her all about was just Monica, I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then as we were building it, I was like, this is like just so fortuitous that I'm this character who has a lot of elemental powers because I cannot really do physical combat right now. And then it worked, and I was like, oh my gosh! And then they're paired with the Fahrenheits,
Yeah.
who are also elementals, which makes sense. And then, and they, you know, they felt limited as well. So I was like, wow, we just limited fights, but we still looked cool. And
Yeah.
Abby always does a good job making sure we look cool when we're fighting. And so I was like, this is great. And even in the villains versus everyone, heroes versus villains, like I got to be with them again. That wasn't necessarily scripted, but that's how we had it. And it
Yeah.
was just like, ah, good. My people who know that I can only
Yeah.
Do so. I mean,
do
like,
so much. Yeah.
I think that that's important for like any life circumstance, like whether you're pregnant or if you're like I'm dealing with an injury right
Yeah.
now. So like there was stuff that like stuff that I did with Hayden that like we were making sure that it was safe for me to do it. And bless his heart, Hayden was such a good scene partner. And anytime after he would like slam me down on the ground, he'd be like, "Are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
Are you okay?"
Are you okay?
I'd be like, "Yep, I'm good. Thank you."
Yeah, one time I was on the floor for like a beat too long because I was waiting for like the cue line from Misfortune, and I was on the ground for longer than I usually was. And I got up and Beth was like, are you okay? It was just like very loving from
Yeah.
everyone was
Yeah.
just very like, we want to make sure everyone's being safe. It was so kind. I was like, I'm just waiting for the cue line. We were being too fast. So.
I've said it once, and I'm sure I'll say it again on this podcast. Like the cast of Ordinary Heroes was such a special group, and I think was really reflective of what I want Reinvent to be as someone. I mean, as the person leading it, and as we continue to grow, it's like I want it to be an environment where people are safe, but then also feel safe enough to take risks and try things. Like I know for Beth and James, like that was a brand new thing for them, and I'm pretty sure when I asked both of them to play caricatures of my in-laws, that they did not expect to be doing multiple fight scenes because they were in 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, that was such a fun one too, because when we were orchestrating that big table read with everyone, that was a secret I kept very close to the chest of like how 3.3 would play out.
It was, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
That was amazing to read.
Yeah, I remember reading that for the first time, and I was like, this is great. Because Mr. and Mrs. Fahrenheit are in Universe 17, have shown up there.
Got
And so when I saw that Mom and Dad were Mr. and Mrs. Fahrenheit, I was like, man, that's so cool.
Fun fact that also, this is in general about the whole of Volume 3, were written after 3 very specific like things. Volume 3, Issue 1 was written after we watched Thunderbolts.
Okay.
That was when I realized how to write that scene.
We all watched Thunderbolts
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
On one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
It was a bad. Anyways, we don't have to. We don't have to talk. We can't talk about it.
No.
Jeez.
That was a bad day.
Issue 2 was just sort of like somewhere in between all the events of like grad school that semester. But issue 3 was one that I believe like we Abby and I watched Fantastic Four First Steps, and then we came home, and then I was like, I have to go write immediately, and was there for probably like 30 minutes, probably longer.
You knocked it out real fast though.
Yeah. Because it was one I had like the bones of it there already, and I was like, okay, here's sort of like loosely the beats and everything. And the thing is that beforehand, I had realized how I wanted it all to end. Specifically, when I watched To Be Hero X, the first arc follows the character of Nice, who then turns into the arc of that show is like this. For anyone who hasn't seen it, the idea of To Be Hero X is that people in the world get superpowers by other people believing that they have some ability. And it doesn't just affect superheroes, it affects anyone. And that's just what happens. So if people think, oh, you are like, one of the examples that they use of how this works sort of in a bad way is that there's a firefighter who saves a kid from a burning building by holding the building up. And so the people then that moment goes viral in the news and everything. And so the people believe that, oh, he is so strong that he will never like bend a knee to evil or tragedy or anything, and then he physically cannot bend his knees anymore, and so he is super strong. But it's a lot of like, it explores his power system and also how it kind of ruins a lot of people's lives.
Monkey's paw situation.
It's a gorgeous anime.
Yeah.
You definitely enjoy it because it like goes back and forth between 3D and 2D.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But so the first arc also follows, there's a hero named Nice who commits suicide in the first episode. And so his agents discover this normal civilian that he interacted with right before jumping off of a building. And they said, okay, you have to be him now. And so they like redo his hair and everything about him so that he just looks like this guy. And then he gets the powers because he looks like the guy. And so from that, someone else exposes that this guy isn't the real Nice, and then he loses all of those powers, and his hair starts to go back to normal, and then he still decides to fight the villain anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Girl.
And so that is one, and then he like keeps going, and it's one that people like start believing him in again, but it's also he's just being a normal dude.
Yeah.
And so that's like the beautiful
An
thing about that
ordinary
first arc.
hero.
Yeah. But he takes up the name Everyman. Yeah.
That's
so
good.
it's a beautiful first arc to that show. And the whole show is incredible in general, but that heavily inspired the ending for Ordinary Heroes as well. So
I love that.
after watching that and then watching Fantastic Four First Steps, I was like, I've got it.
Yeah. I do remember you drove home very fast.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I think I was like prepping for something. And then you're like, hey, hand me the laptop. He goes and does the dishes,
Yep.
which this is his way, is that if you write something, he will hand me his laptop and then scurry away to do dishes and wait for me to read it.
Yeah.
And wait for me to sulk into the kitchen and be like,
What the hell did you just do?
Yeah.
and I was like, that's it. It's there. And I know that there was still tweaking that happened after it, but it was like finally landing the plane was really satisfying, and like knowing that like, okay, this is how we're gonna go through it.
I loved 3.1. That was, I think I told Liz backstage, that was my favorite one to be in.
Yeah.
It's because you're a therapist.
Probably. I was like, that's my favorite one to be. Well, I was like, I just love being with everyone on stage. She was like, Liz's response was like, that's such a Lady Earthquake thing to say. Which I was like, I don't know what that means. But
I was like, that's such a Monica thing to say. I was like, I love just being with everybody. But it was all sad.
Yeah, I was like, it was fun because we were all sad and we were all just like at our wits' end of just like, what is this? And so just that very cathartic of like Sneak coming in and wanting to fix things and change things, but like, you know,
and then you're like, oh no, the child's crying. Oh no, shoot, Abby's crying. Oh no.
Truly, oh shoot, Abby's crying. But then just like, oh, okay, like I just love a release of like, oh, you've been holding this in on your own for so long. And it's that like that like 34-year-old man discovers community help, community care.
Dude, it's like this is a sidebar, but watching Roundtables Next to Normal, you and I were sitting next to each other, and I wanted to applaud so loudly whenever the character Dan at the end is like, "Yes, I would like the number of a therapist," and we're like, "Yes, a man going to therapy."
We did cheer quietly because I was like, "They're wrapping up the show," but I love to hear it.
Yeah.
You need help.
Because at first he's like, "No," and then he's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh, thank God."
You should have just cheered as loud as possible anyway.
It's like, get this man a therapist.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, it's important. I think, and that's, I mean, I say this a lot, and I don't want to make Ben emo or myself emo, but just like, I love Ordinary Heroes and like that overarching thread of like, your people are there. And you wrote about this in your director's note as well, but like just on like the grand scheme of it too, like people will be there and the ones who are there for you are not going to leave you behind. And so I just like that scene really spoke to me in that sense as well. I think that's why I mean, and maybe that is the therapist in me, but I did really enjoy being it. I thought I was really glad to be in that scene too.
Yeah. Kind of a final note on Ordinary Heroes, at least for today, because we'll keep talking about Ordinary Heroes during these next several episodes. But even the people who don't stay but leave a lasting impact on your life are also important, because like
absolutely
I think I've said this before, and we'll probably talk about this more in the Brave episode, but like my mom asked me, and I think like I don't think it was you, but it was like one of the girlies asked me at one point, they're like, is Alex supposed to represent you? I'm like, no, Alex is a real person that he has not seen in 10 years. But she's someone that I'm super grateful for. I mean, someone who had a hand in making sure that you're still here. And I think it's like having gratitude for relationships that you do have, that like there are times when life will just naturally, like relationships will end or they will change, and that's okay. But like having gratitude for what you have, but then also what you had is really special. And I think that's something you hit very well with the show, even without having the context. Like you and I know the context that like Wendell does not see Alex ever again, most likely. But that he gets different friends in college that do impact him for the better.
Is it too soon to make an Into the Woods quote or what?
Yes.
I'll say it really fast. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the woods. Do like radio. No, these are good. Sorry, Ben. Had to say it. Sorry.
It's all good.
Before we sign off, Monica, do you want to give any shout outs or plugs?
Yes, you should all go see Talon Squad, Trust and Turmoil. Newly named as of the time I'm recording this. It's going to be a good time. We're all really excited to put it out there because we've been working on it for like a year and a half at this point, I think. Over that. At
this point, by the time this show closes, we will have spent 18 months on it.
Yeah. So
because we started talking about it during Pirate Show.
Yes. Yeah. So we're begging you. And just to be nice. Be a good person.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Talon Squad Trust and Turmoil is going to be running May 20th through the 24th at Hollingsworth Hall Cultural Center. There'll be a night where you can also get a 2-for-1 ticket to be able to see a one-act that Youth Artists Guild Lubbock is writing. I'm going to be taking a group of kids to Theater Network Texas this summer, and we are doing a devised project right now that is inspired by the Talon Squad show. I don't know where that script will be at by the time this episode comes out, but yesterday we were playing a lot with Colts. So I don't know where we're gonna end up at, but anyway, it's a great group of kids. I'll also put in the show notes a link to Youth Arts Guild Lubbock. They put on some really great shows, and if you have a kiddo in the Lubbock area who wants to do theater between ages 8 and 18, they're a great organization. That is all for this episode of Lore Drop. The next episode is going to be a special birthday episode for me.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Aurora Remington, who is the in current canon timeline for this long as the Queen of Rondor, was a pirate on the Lady Legacy for a little bit, and we've got a long episode to talk about her because she has a lot going on between pre and post campaign stuff and all the fun stuff in between in that campaign. I can't wait for you to hear it.
And remember,
Being fantastic starts with being a fan.
Reinvent Productions is proudly sponsored by 5 Points Corporation Lubbock and Savannah Rashida Photography, as well as our other wonderful community patrons. Our home base in Lubbock is Hollingsworth Hall Cultural Center at 4228 Boston Avenue. For more information on how to support our 501c3 organization, you can check out our website at www.reinvent-productions.com. To directly support our upcoming audio drama, you can become a Lore Drop sponsor. For just $10, you can sponsor an episode of this podcast. All donations will go towards support for our upcoming production of Children of Destiny Cataclysm Season 1, which will begin releasing episodes June 22nd, 2026. Funds will go towards paying our wonderful voice actors and creative staff for their fantastic talent and time. We have over 30 artists globally working on this production, and we can't wait for you to hear it this summer. You can donate at givebutter.com/Lore Drop sponsor. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at reinvent.productions, as well as on Facebook and Twitch, where we stream gaming and a look behind the scenes on how we create our new works. Be sure to follow us to stay in the loop about upcoming productions, auditions, and more. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Lore Drop.